Hello and welcome to episode 2 of my Discord Oauth login series. So in the previous episode I went over why Oauth is useful, what you can use it for, and the sort of general structure of how it works. So if you've watched that video, you'll be better equipped to understand what is actually going on here. So anyway, we'll start off. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create a Discord app, or you want to use an existing one if you want to get information from that app. So if you had a bot and you wanted, say there was commands that stored information on the user or something, you wanted to log in with that bot, then you would use that login. But yeah, first of all, I'm going to create an application. So this is just if you haven't done it before, so you can name it if you want, doesn't really matter. So there's a few things to take note of here. So first of all, client ID and client secret. Okay, and we're going to be needing these two later, but I'll go through that when it comes to it. So the next tab is Oauth2. In here, this is important because here we're going to be creating the link that the login with Discord button on our website will link to. So what you want to do is, first of all, you want to sort of work out where you want Discord to redirect the user to once they've successfully logged in. So it could be probably literally any URL, but usually you want it to be just an endpoint on your website that you're actually, the actual website that you're doing this all with. So I'm going to be doing this with Python and Flask. So if you're using a different language, maybe this isn't the draw for you. However, I will say that most of the stuff probably is relatively easily translatable to other languages because it's all just REST APIs, if you know what that is. So it's kind of irrelevant of the actual language that you're using for most things. You can find alternatives and do that. If you just follow along with the general flow of it, you'll get it. So the first thing you want to do is I've just set up a sort of basic Flask sort of app here. So this is just the general template of it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to just create like a root, a main root for our website for some testing purposes. So just do app.root and / we can just also do methods equals, and we'll just put get in here, because really we only want it to be accessible via GET request unless you're doing something else with it. So then def, we'll just call this index, and in here we just want to we'll just do return for now, but we will want this to redirect just for testing purposes to the Discord URL, which we will get to later. Then we want to have the endpoint that Discord is going to redirect to once the user successfully logs in on Discord. So app.root, I'm just going to call this one /login. Methods, probably only we want get for this. Don't see why not. Why anything else would be necessary. Let's call this def login. Right. So if they log in successfully, we're just going to print. We're just going to return like logged in. Right, and so now we actually need to, so we want to return redirect. So this is actually a thing that you need to import from Flask, redirect, and we're going to put the it's going to give us an error at the moment, but we're going to put the redirect URL in here. Right, so first of all, what I'm going to do is, you'll see why this is important later, but I'm just going to create a static class that's going to just handle all of the Oauth stuff. So, you know, I suppose this is a better way of doing it because it means it's not like entwined in your actual code. It's sort of separated a little bit. So I'm just going to call this Oauth.py, and then here I'm going to create a class. So class Oauth object in here, just to make it happy. Right, so for our Discord object, there's a few things we're going to be needing initially. We'll add to this, but these are the initial things that we're going to need. So first of all, the first thing you're going to need is going to be a client ID, which is a string. You're going to need a client secret, which is also a string. We're going to be needing the scope of the thing, which I'll get to later what that is and what it means. So that you're going to be needing the scope. We're going to be needing the redirect URI, also string, and I believe that's it. We're also going to have our Discord. We'll just call it Discord login URL, also string. So that's our initial attributes of this class. So now we're going to go back to Discord, and we're going to actually shovel this stuff in. So we want to go to the Oauth2 page again, and we want to actually, what we can do is we can go in general information and just get this first. So this is the client ID. We can copy that and paste it in here like that. We can get the client secret. Doesn't really matter, you can reveal it if you want. There we go. So that's the client ID, client secret. The scope is a little bit more complicated. We'll be getting to that later. Redirect URI will be so if you're in Flask, say, it will be your wherever it's running. So the redirect URI is just your website name / the endpoint that you've said. So if this was running on like a proper website, it'd be like www.mybot.com / and then our endpoint, which is /login. So /login, like that. Scope, a little bit more complicated, and that's all that we can get from this page from now. So now we go onto Oauth2. We want to, so you see here it says must specify at least once URI for the authentication to work. So this redirect is the same one that we just did here. So we just copy that, paste it here. There we go, done. Great. So we have that. So now that we have that, we can select it here. So it's like, oh, Discord. It's like, oh, where do I redirect once they've logged in? Here. Now, this is the scope section, so I'll go over briefly what scopes are. So scopes are sort of like packages of permissions. So it's sort of like when they log in, when the user logs in with Discord, it will say, are you okay with the app having access to this information? So if you ask for the identify scope, it will, it'll say like, oh, you happy, your avatar, your name, things like that. Are you happy with this app, accessing that information? So and it's the same for all of these. These will all encapsulate different sets of permissions, essentially. So for this purpose, for the purpose we're just going to do identify and guilds. Well, actually, we'll just do identified. It'll make it a little bit simpler, because we don't really need any guild information. So you'll notice down here, once you've done that, it will kind of generate this URL. So if you want, what you can do is you can just copy that and paste it here, and everyone will be happy. What I like to do is kind of just break this URL down, because all it's doing is just putting the information in from these attributes here. So it's cleaner in my mind to actually see which thing corresponds to which. So we're going to be sort of editing the string. So just copy it, paste it in Discord URL, and then we'll just start sort of breaking it down a little bit. So first thing we want is scope is identify for our thing. So we can just copy that, or just yeah. So our scope identify. There's an interesting thing to note about the scope. If you want to add more scopes, so say if we added guilds as well, we copied this again, just for testing to show you, you'll notice that it changes to identify %20 guilds. So if you want to add more scopes, you have to add %20 in between them, like this. So if we had that, we would, it would be this instead. So that's fine. So now we're just going to sort of start breaking this URL down. So first of all, Discord app Oauth2 authorized client ID. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of that and like that. So then we're going to format this string later so that it puts the values in the respective spots. So HTTPS that/login, right? Just get rid of that, and that'll be up to there. Fantastic. I don't know why it keeps on doing that. Response type code, we leave that there, and scope, we want to like that. There we go. And then .format, and I'll just put the things in. So client. So whoops, is it client ID? There we go. Client ID. That's the first one. Redirect URI. So redirect URI is the second one, and the third one is scope. Okay, because we're going to be needing these later, so it's better to kind of keep it modular so you can actually see what's going on. So, right, so that's the first step. What we then so now we actually have this URL, so we can save this in our main function. Let's just import that other class. So from Oauth import Oauth, like that. Then in our so for testing purposes, we just want to have it so that when we go to our index page, it will just instantly redirect us to the Discord login with Discord page. But obviously, if you're doing this with your actual website, you would have a button like login with Discord, and then that would redirect to this. But it's similar process. So because it's static class, we can just do Oauth dot, and then we want Discord login URL. Great. So if it successfully logs in, it'll redirect us to this, and it'll just return a string of just logged in. So we'll just test this out now. So there we go. It gives us this link here. Great. So we have a little bit of a problem. Might be that we haven't saved the changes. Okay, so sorry, save the changes. Let's try it again. There we go. Right, so sorry, I didn't save the changes here. So just so make sure that all your it's all saved here on the Discord end, and then when you go to your site, it should redirect to a page like this. So you can see here, knows what servers you're in, username and avatar, whatever, authorize, and you can see it's authorized us, so it's redirected to our URL, and it said logged in, and this is the code I was talking about. So next episode we'll go over what to do with this code and the next steps. So anyway, that's all for this episode. Tune in for next one. We're just going to be carrying on with this long, arduous, fucking horrible task. Yeah.